Hey friends, Kylie here, your host of Dream On with Kylie O'Miller, back for another episode with another inspiring friend, teammate, and travel buddy of mine. Thank you as always for tuning in. These episodes are recorded from a live Zoom webinar I hold through the KO17 Lacrosse app and are constructed into this Dream On podcast you've found here. I hope you are gaining some insight from these episodes from some of the people I have met through my lacrosse journey that have imposed so much of their wisdom on me. We've got another special guest this week and I'm pumped to get right into it. Through this episode, I sat down with my good friend Marie McCool for some light and fun conversation about her journey as a stud midfielder at UNC, rocking that Tar Heel Carolina blue, to a superstar role model for young girls everywhere as a professional lacrosse player and Team USA standout, making plays all over the field on every field she steps on. Although we are the same age, Marie is someone I only just met playing on the Team USA training team in 2016. And I got to know even better when we were juniors in college in Washington, D.C. at the Twarton Finalist Awards ceremony in the spring of 2017. It's refreshing when life brings you to find people you can become instant friends with through a common ground. For Marie and I, that common ground has since been our passion for lacrosse and gaining exposure for the women's side of the sport as players and people who travel near and far to work with girls of all ages on their skills at events and clinics. We share some funny, slightly inappropriate, but it's not our fault, stories about dozens of weekends spent traveling across the country together for events with our sponsor, Bryan and New Balance. We talk about Marie's recruiting process, and she shares some incredible advice for young people going through similar situations in their lives right now. Marie is someone I'm lucky to call a friend, partner in crime on long 20-hour travel days, and a teammate that will always push you to be a better you just by being her. Let's dive right in and learn some more about Marie, aka Maisie's mom, McCool. All right. Hi, everyone. How we doing? I got some thumbs up, some familiar names, familiar faces here. Love to see it. Awesome. Welcome to another Wednesday Wisdoms. We are super excited to have one of my all-time favorite guests to talk with on social media and on a lot of these different interviews that we do. We always have a ton of fun with it, and also just a great friend and a great teammate in Marie McCool. I know you guys can see her here just chomping on some watermelon. She's excited to be here. We'll get into like all that stuff and all that, what makes us, you know, who we are as people as well as lacrosse players and all that good fun stuff. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for coming to hang out with us on a Wednesday night. And I'm excited to just kind of dive deep a little bit, have some conversations between myself and Marie, and hopefully give our listeners a little bit of insight into, you know, our daily lives, what we go through, our journeys, and some things that you guys wanted to kind of get out of this conversation. But a little bit of an introduction. Marie McCool, I mean, I don't know how long this list really goes. I got the gist of it. I mean, she's one of the all-time best, as you girls know. UNC Women's Lacrosse graduate 2018, Team USA. She won a gold medal in 2017, actually 2 gold medals, that's for sure. WPLL Brave, 2-time All-Star, a 2-time Twarton finalist. That's actually where we met, but we'll talk about that. A national champion with UNC in 2016 and a fellow Bryan New Balance athlete with myself. So I'm excited about today. And I think that it's going to be a great conversation between, you know, great friends. I'm really excited about the fact that we got to become friends throughout this lacrosse experience and be able to share that with these girls and with our listeners, because I think it's something that's really important about what we do. And like playing sports, we create these friendships and these memories that kind of last a lifetime. And I think it's a perfect example of all of that. So Marie, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that introduction and thanks for having me. I'm super excited. Hi, girls. Uncle Tim was on for a second.
I know. I saw that. We have some very, very supportive families. I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But, you know, I think that's what's great about it all. You know, I'm getting to know your family as much as you've got to know my family too, just throughout like the last couple of years of knowing each other. It's so fun just knowing that everybody supports and everybody's lax rats just as much as we are. You know, watching all of the PLL games yesterday, I'm sure you're the same. But we always like to start off Wednesday Wisdoms with a good start. I always like to start off on a good foot. I think some of these interviews, we always just go into the hard hitting questions, and some of the questions we get all the time. So I like to dig deep a little bit. It goes kind of hand in hand with our Kylie's Corner on the app as well. These girls journal all the time on a weekly basis. So it's kind of exciting, and, something that I always like to do. So we're going to start off by asking you something that you're thankful for today, Marie.
I'm thankful for a lot of things, but I think today, especially for all of my friends and family who have been my biggest supporters this past couple of weeks have been, there's been a lot going on in my life, and there's some ups and downs and a roller coaster of emotions, but I wouldn't be able to get through it without my friends and family. So thankful for them and all the support that they provide for me.
Love that. Can't get through it. I listened to a podcast with Julie Foudy called Laughter Permitted, and she had Carrie Walsh Jennings on, and she said something about how she couldn't get through anything without her dope village of people that surround her. So that's your dope village. I love that. So what else we got here? Something that you are proud to say that you've accomplished today. What did you get done today?
Okay, so today for those of you who don't know me, Kylie knows this about me. Like, I tend to put a lot of things on my plate. Like, I'm always doing something. I like to commit to a lot of things, and it's just something that I enjoy. But with that being said, sometimes it's hard for me to stay organized and get some other things done that I need to prioritize because I have so much going on. And so like I said, this past couple of weeks have been a roller coaster, but I've all right, I need to make a to-do list. So I spent 20 minutes making a really pretty to-do list on Excel with all these formulas and stuff. But I have fun doing that, but I did that. And wrote down a bunch of things that I need to do. And it could be anything. It could be actual actions, do the laundry or clean the room, or send some emails out. But it's also all right, think of 3 things that you're grateful for today and things like that. I'm sure it's similar to what Kylie has you guys doing in your journals and everything. So it's kind of just a bunch of different things to help me stay organized, and something that I'm going to work on more from starting. I guess I started that on Monday, but today is really where I sat down and worked on that Excel spreadsheet. So that is what I'm proud of today, because I have a hard time sometimes staying organized and taking some time to myself as well, because I'm always running around doing something.
Yep, you and I are pretty much very similar in that sense. So, lists are good, and starting wherever is an awesome thing too. So definitely be proud of that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, something that you're pumped to go out and chase, something tomorrow, this week, in the coming months, something that you're excited to go chase.
So I think later on we'll probably talk about things that I've picked up in quarantine, but I'm really excited. I'm going golfing. So one of those things, which I'll talk about in more depth later, is picking up other things outside of lacrosse. So I'm going golfing tomorrow, and I've also been playing a lot of tennis, and I'm really not good at it. And I don't like not being good at something, and it makes me really angry sometimes. So I've been not having the best attitude about it, but I was watching all these YouTube videos on how to hit a tennis ball yesterday, and I was really into it. And so I'm really excited tomorrow. I have golf in the morning and then tennis later at night to work on all of the little things that I've probably overlooked. And as a coach, these are things that I tell girls to do all the time, but I realized I wasn't doing it myself. So I'm excited to start fresh tomorrow after really doing some soul searching and watching some YouTube videos, and chase after that this week and within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually something that my dad and I have talked about getting into, is golf. And I completely agree with you. I'm awful at tennis as well, which is so funny because you'd think as lacrosse players, we'd have some sort of finesse, some sort of skill, but not at all. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. And that sounds like a really fun day. So next time you're on Long Island and want to play either of those things, I'm down.
Yeah, maybe I can give you tips by then too. But right
Yeah,
now,
honestly, private lessons for golf. I love it. So changing topics onto the other sport that we play, that you girls and all of our listeners know us for, right? Know us so well for, is, obviously lacrosse. And, how did you, let's talk about your journey into the sport, your introduction into it. Where you grew up, was it really big there? Was it not so big? Did you play other sports? How did you really get started with the sport of lacrosse?
So I was always, like I said earlier, I always need to be doing something. So I was a very active kid and wanted to play every single sport that I saw, like on TV. Like if I saw football, I would go outside and throw a football. If I was watching baseball, I played wiffle ball with my family. Like I always picked up things that I saw and wanted to try it. Except for tennis. I never tried tennis, and that's why I'm not great yet. But anyway, then I was very fortunate enough to grow up in a small town in South Jersey called Morristown, which even though it's a small town and like a public school, they're very it has a very historical lacrosse program. And so I kind of just was like born into it. And that's how I was introduced to the sport. My parents grew up like in Philadelphia in the city, and like their schools didn't have lacrosse. They weren't familiar with the sport. Their schools didn't have the funding for it. Like they didn't even know really what it was. And so I didn't come from a lacrosse family like a lot of girls and players do now. And so they got me a lacrosse stick for Christmas just from hearing about it from family friends throughout Morristown and their kids signing up. And I went outside on Christmas Day. I remember perfectly my dad had his baseball glove and had no idea what the sport was, didn't know how to teach me, but was like, all right, just catch it. So he's like throwing the lacrosse ball at me and I'm just trying to catch it. And I instantly fell in love with it. And so they signed me up for a camp that was in between Christmas and New Year's. That was local, so it was indoors. I did that, and ever since then, I never put down the stick. I always thought I was going to be the next Mia Hamm, and UNC was my dream school because she went there, and I was a huge U.S. women's soccer fan, and I just completely shifted into lacrosse mode ever since then.
There's a picture of that, right? That Christmas morning first lacrosse. Okay, I think I've seen that one before.
Yes, with my purple coat and my bangs.
Oh, that's a great look. We love that. It's funny how pictures like that just get etched into your memory, right? And
Yep.
just kind of like bring you back to not only just a funny picture to look back on, but also some good memories. I
Yeah.
mean, I was the same way. Like you said, you first picked up the stick and you immediately fell in love with it, even though it is one of the harder sports to pick up, right? It takes a lot of skill, and we see this now as we're kind of teaching a lot of these young girls, and it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of kind of willpower to drop a pass a million times in a row and still pick the ball back up and try it again off the wall. So I think that goes to say that you've definitely had a passion for the sport from the very beginning. And, I think you mentioned Mia Hamm, and you've always wanted to go to UNC, and as you grew up and you started playing lacrosse at the travel level, and then for Morristown, and all through high school and all those things, like your recruiting process. I know this is a question that's heavily asked to us a lot, what was your recruiting process like? But more, I think what I want to get at was, what drew you to UNC? What kind of turned you away from other schools? What were you looking for in, I guess, your future of lacrosse through NCAA and through your collegiate career, that you ultimately were able to fulfill through all that passion that you had once you first picked up the stick?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty long recruiting process at the time. That's when early recruiting was becoming like very popular and girls were committing after a couple of visits to a few schools, but mine was a bit longer. I took my time with it because I was only 15 years old, and also because my parents wanted me to just see like a broad range of schools, from the size to the program, where they were ranked, academics, everything, the whole package. And as I mentioned, UNC was my dream school ever since I was a little girl. And so I think ultimately, just long story short, that's what drove me there. But there were so many other things too that it was just the whole package deal to me. I wanted to play at a competitive level for lacrosse, but I also wanted to attend a school. My dog just opened the door and walked in here. Say hi, Maisie.
Easy.
I wanted
So big.
like she opened the door herself. I thought that was a person coming. Um, but anyway, I wanted to attend a school that would challenge me both athletically and academically. And also, I didn't want to be across the country for my parents. I didn't want to get on a plane. And that some people do want to do that and go to different schools. But I saw my sister do it. She played lacrosse at the University of Oregon. And I wanted it to be a little bit more accessible for them to get to rather than getting on a couple of planes. So it was still a long drive, but it was in driving distance, but not too close where they wouldn't be like knocking on my door. Love you, Mom. But anyway.
You're on here somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
um, so those were really the main things. And then also just I wanted to feel at home, like Chapel Hill, Franklin Street. It's just the college campus and the environment just felt like home to me. And the coaches really reminded me. Jenny reminded me of my high school coach, and I knew she was someone who was going to invest in me as a player and help me grow, not only as a player, but also as a person. And that was also really important for me. So just the whole total package deal is what I was looking for in a school, and UNC fit all of that for me.
That's awesome. I mean, I think we talk about it all the time with these young girls, but like you get a feeling, right? And I think just kind of putting together that total package is really what that feeling's about. Just kind of like stepping on campus, or even getting on the phone with a coach, and just ultimately having that feeling of like, okay, this could be my home for the next 4 years. This is where I can see myself growing as a person, as a lacrosse player on and off the field. So that's really special that you said that, all about the total package. And I think, you mentioned some things about the campus and how special UNC was to you, but I mean, you obviously won a national championship there. That's huge. That's something that not all of us can say that we've achieved. Like, that is one of the all-time greatest achievements in the sport of lacrosse. Can you talk on what that was like? And can you also talk on just some of your favorite memories, in that UNC locker room, out on the field with those girls?
Yeah, I mean, I was so lucky to be a part of that team. It was I think, like, obviously I loved all of my teams all 4 years at UNC, but there was something really special about that year. And I think, like, the main thing is we all just believed in each other, and like the main theme was just belief. If you have anyone on your team that doesn't believe in your teammates, your team, your coaches, it's really, really hard to be successful. And it's really not just about the talent that's on the field. We were not ranked. I think Maryland was the number 1 seed. I don't remember what seed we were. I think we were 3, or I think we were 3. But anyway, we were not expected to win. That was the Maryland team with Alice Mercer, Taylor Cummings, Zoe Stukenberg, just a completely loaded team. I don't think they lost that year. I think they were undefeated going into the game. And so no one thought we were going to win. Absolutely no one. They were going to repeat. They didn't lose many people from the year before. They were having an undefeated season. And I think that's what made it that much more special, is that we were the underdogs, yet we loved that. We loved that we had a 1% chance of winning to everyone except for the people in the locker room and our families and coaches. And I think that's really what motivated us. And ultimately we came on top by, I think it was like 10-6. It was or 13-7. I should know this score. I was 13-7, I think. Anyway.
Maybe it was a halftime score, 10-6.
Yeah, it was 13-7 was the score. So it was just like such a special day. And I'm from Philly, and it was in Philly. So to have all my friends and family there too was awesome. And yeah, I think just the main takeaway from that is just never stop believing in yourself, your teammates, and your coaches, because that can really put you over the top. And it's really not about the talent that's on the field. And so it was one of the best feelings ever, and I will never forget it, except I guess I forgot the score, but anyway.
But everything else I'll remember about it.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the score. You just need to know that you won.
No, we won by a lot. So.
It wasn't like a nail biter or anything.
Yeah.
You won.
Yeah.
Fair share at the win there. I love it. Awesome. I mean, I think that, as college athletes, like, we always talk about some of the best memories, some of the best friendships that we made were throughout our college years. Do you have any stories or memories that you think of, that you kind of think back and you're like, all right, that specific day, or those memories on the bus ride, or those memories in the locker room, something, maybe even like a tradition that you guys used to do before or after games, some sort of memory that just like kind of brings you back to those college days and makes you want to go right back to it?
Whoa. She's not allowed on the bed. I don't know why she did that. Yes, I mean, I have so many memories that I just can't even like pick out which ones like specifically, but like those locker room game days in a locker room, the funniest memories from there, from teammates dancing like lunatics before a game, to doing a lot of weird things. And then also just like our pregame meals the night before at Jenny's house. I think those are some of my favorite memories, just spending time with our team, especially outside of the field too, and outside of the locker room. We always did a beach trip, and we always did some team bonding things. And those are some of the things that like you don't get everywhere. And that's one of the special parts about being a student athlete, is that you're automatically joining a team filled with 35 to 40 of your new sisters. And it's just like some of my best friends I still talk to every single day. They're all from UNC. Now, I have best friends from high school too, and from being a kid, but I mean, a lot of them are from Carolina, and they're friendships that are going to last forever. They're people that I, like I said, talk to every day, ask for advice, support me, and I'm just so happy and lucky to have them in my life. And I thank UNC Women's Lacrosse for that. So I loved it. I miss it, but it's also provided so much opportunity and relationships for me for the future as well that I'm excited about.
For sure. I think you hit on every little point of that perfectly. I mean, you were just talking about UNC and I was just kind of filling in the blanks with myself and with Stony Brook. I mean, it's pretty parallel. And I think that that's what's really special about college lacrosse. You don't see that too often with too many other sports, especially because a lot of other sports, there's a future of it. So if you think of like football players in college, they're preparing for the NFL. Basketball players, same idea. So they're kind of looking forward always. And I think you mentioned it perfectly at the end, this kind of set you up for the future. And for us, for the longest time, lacrosse has been, the peak of it is playing Division I national, Division I NCAA lacrosse. In college. So now that we have, professional lacrosse on both the men's and the women's side, and, how has that transition been for you, being able to go from those top moments at UNC and now being able to play on the national team at the highest level of the sport, being able to play in the WPLL the last 2 summers, and just, kind of ultimately pushing our sport forward? Like, how was that process? How was that transition for you? And what does that really ultimately mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it is like when we were getting recruited, there wasn't a professional league, and we had the US team, but I would have never in a million years thought that I would be on it. So I thought, this is going to be the next 4 years of my life. I'm going to spend at Carolina, and then I'm going to go off and do this outside of lacrosse after college, because we didn't have these opportunities. And so to be able to have the opportunity to play at the US team level and at the professional level after college has been such an amazing experience. And the transition is definitely still a little bit challenging because it is different. It's very, very different from the collegiate level. You're not practicing every single day. You're not with your teammates. You're not building that chemistry with them every week, every day at practice. And you're on your own a little bit to work out and stay in shape and keep playing lacrosse as much as you can without defenders, and not really being in like those game-like situations. So it is a really big transition. However, like when we step on the field, it is like a crazy feeling now because we don't do it that much, and you kind of like forget how much like you might have. I mean, I realized like I feel like I took some things in college for granted. Mm-hmm. And I kind of realize that now because I don't see my teammates that much, and when I step on the field, I'm like, this is amazing. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't step on the field every day at practice like, wow, I am so excited to play lacrosse today. I love lax. Like, yes, I love lacrosse. I love playing lacrosse. But there are definitely some days where I think that I took it for granted and didn't realize what I had in front of me. So, like, now I just try to cherish every single moment that I have with my teammates and on the field. And when we get out there. And then with the U.S. team, it's just been incredible, not only to continue playing lacrosse, but also to play with some girls women that I idolized growing up. And even when I was in college playing against them, I was like, oh my gosh, am I really marking Kylie Trainer right now on the field? When I was like a freshman, someone else please mark her, like just like those feelings. And like Taylor Cummings, like why am I taking the draw against Taylor Cummings right now as a freshman? Just like those moments, and then like they become some of your really close friends. Is really, really special. And just being able to compete and wear USA across my chest is just something, again, that I never would have dreamed of. And it's such an honor. And I'm still kind of like starstruck by everyone. And when we get there, I'm like, how did she do that? Like, I'm like, Kylie, can you teach me? Like, and I think that's
not me.
that we're also like, we learn from each other. Like, we're always willing to learn from each other. And we're surrounded by people who love lacrosse, love to get better, learn new things, and play with each other. So it's been, while the transition's been a little challenging, it's been eye-opening and also just a really great experience.
For sure. I mean, I think we always say it because we're some of the younger ones on the squad and just kind of like at a lot of these weekends and things. And I always say it too, like you said, Kayla Trainer, Taylor Cummings, like we would play against their teams in college, but at the same time, you were always on the side, like watching the rest of their games. Like we were doing that with you guys too, you know, watching the rest of their games, watching it on the laptops and being like, wow, she is so good. And now, you know, getting to this level and post collegiately, like we're all kind of hanging out at these training weekends, and we're all teammates. And now we get to, instead of competing against each other, we're all competing for a bigger thing. And I think ultimately that bigger thing, that bigger idea that we're pushing for is just a better future for the sport of lacrosse, right? I mean, I think like bigger, better, go big or go home, right? Like we have big dreams for the sport, and honestly, big dreams for the women's side of the sport in particular. I think that, you know, us as athletes, like it's really important for us to have all the young girls listening know that whatever we're doing right now in these moments and out on the field is, you know, obviously because we love lacrosse and obviously because we are passionate about the time and effort that we put in off the field, to ultimately get back there with our teammates and fight for the wins. But it also has a bigger meaning, you know, and it also is for that future and is for the young listeners here that ultimately want to be in our shoes one day, but in even bigger, brighter shoes. So I think just like kind of talk on, you know, what are your goals for the future of women's lacrosse in a pretty vague, very general way of asking that question.
I think my goal, if I were to, I think it's all of our goals really, on the U.S. team and at this level and a professional level. But if I were to pick, my goal is just to provide more exposure, because I think that'll ultimately lift up the sport to where we need it to be. Obviously, like the end goal is get it in the Olympics, have more professional teams, have a bigger league, be televised. Like there's a bunch of things that we need, but I think it starts with exposure, because, you know, it is, I think that the sport is very popular in some areas, but then in other areas, they've never even heard of it. And it is a predominantly white sport. And there's just a lot of things about lacrosse that I love so much, and I want everyone to see it and to experience it. And I think that we've come such a long way in the past few years, but I think there's also a really, really long way to go as well. So I think that's the start, and ultimately, you know, reaching that goal will help with all of those other things and help things fall into place in order to get to the bigger, larger goals of like being in the Olympics, and having a professional league that is televised and other things like that. So that would be my main thing. If I were to be given all the resources in the world, for lacrosse, what would I do? It's that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, it's one of those genie in a bottle type situations, right? Like 3 wishes. We'd probably, all of us at this level, like we'd probably say like at least 2, if not all 3 would go towards something along those lines, right? And I think that that's really special because it kind of drives you on a daily basis. Like you said, like our drive now and our determination comes from within and comes from those like overall goals, because we aren't surrounded by a team that we get to see every week, every day, like we did in college, or, you know, every weekend, like we did with our travel programs. Even growing up, like sometimes you would see your teammates every single day in school, you know, and I think we've just been kind of conditioned to know that and to get used to that, and to kind of lean on our teammates because it is a team sport. And I think now we're kind of learning to do it in a different way and do it from a distance, but also kind of find those bigger goals that motivate us on a daily. So I guess kind of tying that in, you know, what on a daily, like what does that look like for you? How are you trying to gain more exposure for the sport, you know, in general, on both the women's and the men's side? You know, I know this because we do it all together, but you know, like what is some of your daily jobs, I guess you would say, in doing so and making those goals come true?
Yeah, I mean, obviously COVID, it's been really hard to do what we love doing. That is huge in growing the game, and that's being out there on the field and all over the country. running clinics and providing the opportunity for girls from all over the country to learn from US players and professional players. And I think that's the main thing, and that we haven't been able to do, but it's things like this and Zoom sessions and social media, being active on social media, providing or using our platform to be a voice for the sport and try to provide more exposure to other girls out there so they can see, who is Marie McCool, who is Kylie O'Miller, what is lacrosse. I think that those are some of the main things that we do in order to provide that exposure. I'm also I just joined Harlem Lacrosse on their associate board, and so I'm really excited to get started there and really just help with some fundraisers, and also again use my platform to help that Harlem Lacrosse specifically, and they're giving opportunities to inner city kids who wouldn't have exposure to lacrosse without that foundation. And I think it's incredible. I've tutored some girls, I've been to events, and they're amazing. And it's just great to see, how Harlem Lacrosse has been able to change their lives. And so those are just some of the things that I've been doing and hope to continue doing, especially outside of COVID, because I think that COVID has affected us a little bit, especially because we're not being televised and we're not having games. So girls aren't able to watch us play. But post-COVID, I think that we're on a really good track to provide more exposure because of all of the professional team players and US players that, love doing it. And I think that social media is also a great place to do it. And we've all been very active the past couple of months. So, yeah.
That's for sure. And I think we're pretty pumped to get back out on the field whenever that might be. That's for sure. I know we're going to play some speed lax. I know that was a thing with one of the Harlem Lacrosse clinics that I ran. They do some speed lax at the end. So they play like a co-ed version of pretty much our like Olympic rules, but a smaller field with a tennis ball. And there's like all sorts of different rules that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but it's super fun because everyone's involved, and it's like at the end of the clinic, at the end of the practice, and just gets the communication going and gets the kind of competitive juices flowing. So maybe we'll have to get some of our Team USA teammates out there doing some speed lax one of these days soon once it's safe.
Yeah, speed lax.
Yeah, right. Oh man, we could use our mini warps.
Yeah.
Which takes me into our next point. So both, for any of our listeners out there, both Marie and myself we both graduated in 2018 from college, and pretty quickly after that, we both got drafted into the WPLL. We started playing our professional games right after that summer, right in early June. And we also both signed Brian New Balance contracts, making us sponsored athletes, which is a really cool thing. I'll speak on it first, but a really, really great opportunity that I've been really grateful for. It's opened my eyes to a whole bunch of different things that I never thought I'd see. And I never thought that I'd be able to experience through lacrosse, right? Like I thought that it was just kind of an out there dream that I could eventually try and reach somehow. I never thought that lacrosse would bring me to these opportunities and experiences and places that we've traveled to, and even just friendships. Like Marie and I got really close through our brine activities and events that we've had to go to. So, just grateful for all of that, and it's going to continue as well. So, can you talk on that and, what your favorite parts of it have been so far?
Yeah, I mean, just everything that Kylie said, same thing with me. So I don't want to repeat. It's just been a really great experience. And I think that we always dream of becoming professional athletes and being sponsored. And I don't think that I realized that it was going to become a reality. And I just loved Brian and New Balance's mission to, expand in their women's lacrosse side and bring us on to help them do so, and really just also, again, the word exposure, but provide that exposure through their brand as well. And so it's been really great. And I think like Kylie mentioned that we became really close through it. And, I forget when this was, but I said something to Kylie. I was like, when were you on the US team? And like, I sound like a terrible teammate, but I was like, we were on a team together, but like, we just didn't really, our weekends were so packed with so many things, and we didn't get together that much as a team. And it was like changing every weekend, because it was like when we were trying to find a final roster. I'm like, okay, yeah. No, I remember now, like we were teammates and there's like videos of us on the field together, but like we just never really talked that much at those weekends. And like, you're not going to be best friends with all 36 teammates, no matter what team you're on. Like you can have a really close knit team and have friends with everyone, but like there's not going to, all 36 girls aren't going to be your best friend. So long story short, I think that Brian and New Balance gave us the opportunity to really get to know each other more on a personal level and like do all of these fun things together that have really helped develop our friendship. And it also transitions onto the field as well. Like I love playing with Kylie, and I think that this past year when we got together at US, like we had really great chemistry and it was a lot of fun. And so it's been, again, not only cool to be a part of Brian New Balance brand and be sponsored, but also make these relationships and just have a lot of fun with it.
For sure. I mean, I think I love that you said that, because I do think that that's such a really important thing with teams that are, first of all, new. Like maybe you're new to a team, or you try out for a new team, or you move to a different school, whatever it might be. A lot of times we're going to go on to these new teams and these new programs, and we're going to feel like an outsider, and we're going to try and find our way in. And like you said, like it's not going to happen overnight, but I think that that's stuff that happens both on and off the field, that you kind of try and connect with your teammates. That's going to help you really build that chemistry off the field that goes onto the field, right? Like the more that I got to know Marie through a lot of these trips that we would go on, like for those of you who are listening who don't know, like Brian and New Balance would have us come to their headquarters in Boston, and Marie and I would both be stationed in New York. So we would fly out for the day and we'd do all sorts of different, I know I said station, that was kind of weird. But
No, I was just thinking about us in the airport and getting food and snacks
and vlogging. Yes. But all the fun stuff. But we would, it would be like a 12, 18-hour day, and we would just show up to the airport really early, meet each other there, and fly there, do all sorts of photo shoots and meetings and videos and all sorts of really fun, awesome things that we never thought we'd be a part of for this brand. And then we'd just get on a flight right back home. But we would spend a 20-hour day together, and what that forced us to do was really get to know each other and really, like Marie said, the next time we got back out on the field, it wasn't so much so like I didn't know what Marie wanted to do. It was more so like, okay, I know what Marie's strengths are. I know what she's trying to do here. The chemistry's there on the field. And now we can kind of chat through it as well, because I know that I've gotten to know her off the field. And I think that's really important for young athletes listening, right? Young athletes in any sport listening, just, get to know your teammates however best you can. Try to find some sort of connection with them off the field so that you can bring it onto the field, because that just makes the chemistry all the more better. But I think you mentioned it perfectly. I mean, we are big snackers. We're big vloggers when we need to be, big Instagram story. We used to like to put up some polls and things and question and answer stickers on our Instagram stories early in the traveling days. But I mean, we've been on some really cool trips through both Brian New Balance, for the WPLL, a lot of these different clinics and events that we run as well. We've been kind of all over, and can you talk on like some memories from those? Maybe your favorite trip. What would some stories that pop out into your brain?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I have so many stories, but I just can't stop thinking about this. Like when we were on our way to California.
I'm nervous.
So Kylie and I like spent like 14 days straight together one time. I don't really know like the series of events, but we had a US training weekend, and then we went back, like, so I think we had a clinic, and then we had a US training weekend. And since I was in New York, she was in Long Island, I think we did a clinic together. Then we went to Baltimore, so we met up at like 6 a.m. on the Amtrak at Penn Station in Manhattan. Got on the train, like had a nice train ride in, got to the hotel.
What did we have on the train?
Cookies.
Duh.
And I left them. So I got these cookies, really good cookies. So we were eating them like in the morning. And then I left them on the train, the two that I was saving for dessert that night. But we get there, we have a fun US weekend. We're like carving some pumpkins together. My pumpkin was way better than Kylie.
Okay, we don't have to tell everybody listening.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, so it was a fun weekend. Then we go back to New York for a day. A night. I got back at like 9 p.m. and
Yeah.
we're flying out the next morning to California. So we were home after like a really like long weekend and we're home for a little bit. I had just gotten a puppy, this big woman behind me. I had just gotten her and so I was like very attached and was like I'm going to miss her so much. Like I've been gone for this weekend and now I'm going to California for 3 days and I had the clinic that I did with Kylie. And so, well, anyway, so I'm going to California. I needed a puppy sitter, and I'd never gotten one before.
Oh, jeez. I
Like,
just got where you were going with this. I was waiting to hear it, but now I'm here.
I'm sorry if this is a little inappropriate, but I'm not. It's not. It's just a funny story. So, anyway, so we're getting on the plane and my Wi-Fi, we're in California and I hired this woman who I'd never met. I had an app. I was desperate. I needed a puppy sitter. She didn't have all of her vaccinations, so she couldn't go to dog care yet because she was too young. And so I hired this lady. The Wi-Fi is not working. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to open my Furbo and I need to open my app to make sure that everything's okay.
So for those of you who don't know, a Furbo is a little camera that's
It's
in
a doggy camera.
Doggy camera in your house. Yeah. She's trying to check it while we're in the
I
middle.
was not spying. I forgot about it. I just wanted to make sure that my babysitter got there. Like, and I was waiting to get the text messages. And so I'm like freaking out. And then finally I text Kylie. I'm like, oh my goodness. OMG. Like, oh my gosh. And we were just talking about being super hungry before that. She's like, I know, Marie, like I need the snack ladies to come too. Like she thought I was saying that because I was hungry because I was just
We're on the plane. We are on the plane.
We're on the plane.
In the middle
She's
of the air.
3 seats ahead of me. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah, I really could use some snacks, some gummy bears. And I'm like, no. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I sent her these screenshots and I opened my Furbo and the woman was just walking around my apartment without a shirt on. And so I was just like, oh my God, is everything okay? Like I was concerned. Like I just didn't know if anything happened. And so I'll just stop there. Everything was fine. I think she just got a little hot, but everything was fine. And she knew I had a Furbo. Like I wasn't spying on her. Like it was right there. So it wasn't like illegal or anything. Like it's just a doggy camera. Everything's fine. But like the funny part about that story is Kylie was like dying laughing on the plane because she thought I was talking about snacks. And then I started telling her what was going on. And she was like trying not to laugh. And I can see her like 4 rows ahead of me. And I'm like, trying not to laugh and I'm like making these noises on the phone. And I think the person next to me was concerned. So that's my
all in all, I think, we were a little delusional from a lot of the travel and being together for like 14 days straight. And we're really excited to go. Where were we going? We were going to the ESPNW Summit, right?
Yeah.
So that was just another really awesome opportunity. We got to go see all these really great female athletes and we were exhausted from another awesome weekend with Team USA and all this travel and we're in the middle of the air and I'm thinking about snacks and Marie's just being, a dog mom that she is. So just some of those funny stories, but we're grateful for them and we're grateful for that Furbo because we were laughing about that for like 3 days straight, I think.
Yeah, the whole time.
It's definitely by far one of the best. I'm so glad you brought that up. See, we have fun too, girls. I love it. So I think, that ties in perfectly to something that you and I talk about a lot, just kind of conversation between you and me and even just with the brands that we work with and stuff like that. But, we clearly have, I think the best way to say it to our listeners is, a lot of Instagram followers, a lot of people that see what we do on a daily basis. They see every single one of our social media posts. They see everything that we're doing. They feel like they have this like inside look, this inside scope on who we are, our lives, what we do, what we like to do, what we don't like, all these different things. But, we always joke about authenticity and content and all these different things. But, I think it's important to know that we do have this platform and we're really grateful for it through the sport of lacrosse. And that we can kind of show whatever side we want, right? To the people that do follow us and to these girls that are looking up to us. And, I think, you and I have talked about that authenticity side of it and, what makes you proud to kind of show on your platform? What do you want, these girls, these young girls to see, these brands to see from you, other kind of companies and things like that, like what do you want the world to see about you from your social?
Well, I think the main thing is just showing everyone like there's a lot more to life than just lacrosse, and you don't, there's a lot of things that you need to do in order to be at the level that you want to be at if you want to be successful. And that's working hard and practicing and, having a positive attitude. But like we are all human. And I think that's important when we are, using our social media platforms. If it means, just showing you what I'm doing on a daily basis, or like waking up and maybe not having that motivation to go work out or things like that is really important and what I try and do. And I think I can even do a better job of it. And, someone who I think during this quarantine that I've noticed has done it is Taylor Cummings. And I think that like it's really been eye-opening and very inspiring for me. And I think a lot of us women's lacrosse players, because she's being vulnerable. And I think that's really important. And so, going off of that, I want to be able to do that, want to be better, but I try to show everyone my life outside of lacrosse. And that's really what my Instagram has been. Obviously, I post some lacrosse things that I'm doing if I'm working out or if I'm running a clinic, but a lot of my Instagram is also things I do on a daily basis. I think it shows what I like to do. Everyone who follows me knows I have a dog and I'm obsessed with her. Everyone who follows me knows I love food. Like I'm not eating the healthiest meals every single meal. Like it's okay to cheat. It's okay to have sweets. It's okay to have ice cream. Obviously life is about balance and don't be eating it for every meal. But those are just some of the things that I like to show on my social media for all of the girls out there that follow me, and really just show them that we're all human. And lacrosse is amazing and I love it and I spend a lot of time doing it, but it's really important to also balance out your life and do other things as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you said that perfectly too. A lot of people are being really vulnerable on their social medias right now. And I think that's so important, right? Because you don't see the entire human side of people without that side, right? Sometimes you only see the wall or the front that everybody puts on, the perfect posts and everything like that, but there are humans behind the screen. So I think that's a really good goal for you, and it's definitely one of mine as well. And I think that it's awesome that we have these people in our lives that we can kind of look up to, that are doing it as well, and just kind of have this whole family of people that can support each other while they do it too. That's what's cool about social media, is that no matter the location, you can, kind of become friends with somebody and you can support them through, some of the toughest things they've ever had to do and some of the easiest things they've ever had to do. So I think that's really, really, really special. But another piece of, I guess, social, just to wrap up this conversation, that has become prominent in our lives is TikTok. We're not that great at it yet, but we're working on it.
TikTok's so amazing.
I know. I actually have been looking at that because I'm spending a little bit more time every day on TikTok
Before they ban it.
for research purposes, to see what the next trend I can do is. But I've been seeing yours with Maisie and they're hilarious. But I did see this trend where, people ask if there is a picture of, like a "this is me" picture. Like if you were to kind of show someone, all right, this is me in a picture in one of your Instagram posts. Do you have one that comes to mind, or one or a couple that you would just be kind of like, okay, this shows all of me, or maybe even a couple put together that you could describe to us?
I think that I have a lot of me being like outside by like a body of water or like some outdoorsy thing. As I mentioned earlier, do not like sitting still, and I do not like being outside. And like I love, love, love being outside and love. I mean, I want to do it more, and I haven't been able to travel that much because of lacrosse and the way my life is. But I do love it, and I'm going to hiking this weekend for the first time in a really long time because I finally have a little bit of a break. Like I said, these past couple of weeks have been stressful, so I'm really excited for that. So there are quite a few pictures of me like outside in front of a body of water, and like I feel like that just kind of describes me as a person. Obviously, like a lacrosse picture, everyone knows I love lacrosse, so I'm kind of thinking more of like, all right, what is Marie outside of lacrosse? Who is she not involving sports or lacrosse.
For
And
sure.
it would definitely be that.
I love that. Two different sides, right? Like some of these people that, see you every single day on social, they would picture you in maybe your US or your UNC or
Mm-hmm.
even your Brave uniform. And it's cool that you get to kind of show that side of you as well, because that's a part of you that you see on the inside. Sometimes forefront, right? At the forefront. But to wrap it up, I mean, we got some really awesome conversation in, some good stories about some furbos and things like that. And my favorite story ever.
I didn't want to tell it, but I was also
You have
thinking
to.
of being authentic. Like, this is me. This is a story I want to tell. I think it's hilarious. And I
mean,
was thinking, I was like, be authentic, Marie. Like, this is the first thing that came to your mind. I need to tell it.
I'm so grateful that you did, because I think stories like that need to be told more often. They do happen way more often than you'd think. But I have a couple questions from some of the girls that are on here. They absolutely crush everything on the app. They've been to a bunch of our virtual clinics that we've done together. I know you know a couple of them just by name. They probably look a little familiar. This is super exciting, but we had a question from Gabby, which is really fun, on the topic of dogs. If you could be a dog, what dog would you be?
A Newfie Poo, because actually, no, not a Newfie Poo, because she's just sleeping. I don't like sleeping. All she does is like sleep. I just felt like I had to say it because that's what my dog was. I mean, I love dogs, but thinking of like my personality and comparing them to other dogs, I would probably be a golden retriever, because obviously they're cute, but that's not what I mean. They are just like the friendliest. Like, now my dog is too. Sorry,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
but like Goldens like just love people, and they just want to be loved, and they are super friendly and always going up to people, and not saying that like I'm like, oh, I'm so nice, and I'm not trying to brag about myself.
That's
No,
definitely you.
I'm
You're
not
always
trying to brag about myself, but I am a very talkative person. I constantly make conversations with people. I am always going up to someone. Like, my boyfriend is always like, why are you talking to that person? Like, you don't know them. Like, don't go talk to them, because he's super introverted. But I'm like, I'll see someone with the Carolina hat. I'm like, oh, go Heels. Like, you got a connection there. I just love people, and that's why quarantine's been really hard for me, because I haven't been able to talk to that many people. But it just reminds me of Goldens and like how they're constantly going up to people and just love everyone.
I was gonna say that. If you didn't say it, I was gonna say that as well.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Gabby. I'm gonna have to think on that, because I'm not really sure what I would be. I'm kind of
Definitely not
picturing
that.
no, I'm
I
kind
wouldn't
of
be
picturing like a little like pug, but I don't know. All right, so we're gonna move on. Kaylin asked, "How do you mentally prepare for a big game?"
Oh, well, I think that the first thing that goes into mentally preparing a game is trying to block out all of the other distractions. I think that that's a lot easier, much easier said than done, because we all have a ton of things going on in our life. But from that moment, I always started from like game week, not even the night before. Like, I guess it's different for younger girls because you have like tournaments. So like that week of your tournament, there's a couple of games. When you get to the high school level and collegiate level, you have like 1 or 2 games a week, and you know who your opponent is and like who those, people are from scouting and everything. But it starts with game week, and that's just really making sure that you're getting rid of all distractions and focusing just on that game. And prepping for who your opponent is, watching film, focusing on what you need to work on individually at practice, staying after to work on those things that might be your weaknesses. And then also just visualization. I think that we talk a lot about it, but maybe don't actually implement it. And that is something that I've implemented in my game, mainly because Jenny Levy, she introduced that to us when we got to Carolina. We do it before every practice, before every game, and it really helps you build your confidence and really visualize yourself doing things on the field. And it might not always be the prettiest things, but it really does help you motivate you and build that confidence. So those are just a few things that I think come to mind when I think about what I do to mentally prepare for games.
Love it. Before we, kind of get into our little finisher here, just a couple like this or that type questions, and a couple of them are obviously going to be food related, like you said. We know you love food, and as do I. So, as do we all. We are human. So I think, right before that, Kaylin asked quick couple questions here in the chat. Once you're on a WPLL team, can you ever play on a different WPLL team? Yes, you have the ability to be traded or kind of go back and forth from the player pool. So yes, it's kind of this similar to any other kind of professional league. You can get traded. And Catherine also asked, have you started practicing again? So as of right now, not yet. We're hoping to get back out on the field together again soon, hopefully at a say tryout or training weekend again soon, any way that we possibly can. But unfortunately, our season got canceled. So Marie and I are just out getting our reps in and getting our workouts in on the daily, challenging ourselves in any way that we can possibly throughout all this quarantine craziness, just like all of you girls are. But just really hoping that we can get back out on the field again soon. And thank you guys for getting back out on the field for first, right? And setting the precedent and being able to get back out there. It's exciting to see you girls doing that. But Marie, pressing questions. Oh man, we're gonna end on a fun note here. All right, you ready? It's a little speed round.
I'm ready.
Shout out to Trevor Baptiste with the speed. That's our guy right there. All right, ready? Chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
Vanilla.
Sushi or tacos?
Tacos.
Oh,
I don't like sushi. I don't like sushi.
I should know that.
You know tacos are my favorite food.
I know. That's why I put it in there, but I didn't know that you didn't like sushi. I should know that. I should very much now. I know.
I eat it. Like I had Wegmans sushi last week, but like I don't ever crave it. Anyways, this is supposed to be speed round and I'm ruining it.
It's okay. We like to talk. We remember we're golden retrievering. A new hobby that you've picked up during quarantine?
Tennis and golf.
Tennis and golf. Very nice. Favorite place that you've traveled to?
Domestic would be San Francisco. International, haven't made it that many places yet, but where I went in the Bahamas was really fun.
Nice. Was that your Harlem lacrosse trip?
It was.
Wow.
It was like not commercial. It was really cool and outdoorsy and not resorty at all. So it was really cool.
Awesome. One thing on your bucket list?
Oh, to go to all of the major cities in Greece.
Ooh, that's a fun one. Behind the back or Twizzler?
Behind the back. Learn from the best.
Oh, man. All right. Last but not least, who is your favorite teammate that played at Stony Brook and wears eye black?
Alyssa Guido.
Oh, Alyssa Guido. Come on. She's literally right here. That's terrible.
Kylie Miller.
Wow, that was good. You turned that around on me. I tried so hard to put little details in there.
I guess she hasn't been my teammate though, so.
Okay, all right.
Kylie.
So I get the second pick.
Yeah.
The best pick situation there. Oh my goodness. As you girls can see, obviously Marie and I have a very fun friendship. We like to joke around a lot. So clearly with some of the stories that we shared today, some of the best memories do happen off the lacrosse fields. I mean, obviously some of the best memories do happen on the lacrosse field, like she mentioned, winning some national championships. And we didn't even get into this, but she won gold medals and she's most definitely going to win some more in her lifetime. So I'm very, very, very excited to see that happen. And I'm super just honored and grateful to have her as a friend, and honored and grateful that lacrosse brought us to this ability to sit across from each other in, different parts of the world and be able to talk to all of you who are listening wherever you might be. So just grateful for, technology and the lacrosse world and the family that has come from that. Just from all of those opportunities. So Marie, thank you for being you. Thank you for coming on and speaking with our girls and speaking with our listeners. So if you have any closing remarks, please, thank you again for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for joining, girls. It's been so great to, I mean, I've seen all of these on Instagram, the Wisdom Wednesdays, and I've been following along. And I think it's awesome that, one, Kylie, what you're doing with this app, it's something that's never been done before in the women's lacrosse space. And even like in the men's, you don't see it. And so I think, what my one wish was earlier was to provide more exposure, and you're leading the way with that. So I'm very honored to be one of your guests and be a part of, this and KO17 lacrosse. And girls, keep crushing it. I think yes, good, Kaylin. She's like,
Yes, there
um,
we go.
but
Right.
keep crushing it. What you're doing is exactly what we need, especially if you want to play at the next level. And yeah, so hopefully I get to see you girls soon out there on the field. Good luck with everything. And again, thanks for having me, Kylie.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Marie, and thank you, girls. Girls, stay safe. Keep crushing it out on the field, and we'll see you guys again next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.